So there is still a lot about PlayStation 5 that we don't know about, whereas Microsoft has already sent out preview units of Series X to various news outlets for coverage. With PlayStation 5, Sony's definitely keeping cards closer to their chest. They're being more secretive about things. And among the questions that people have about the new console is, of course, backwards compatibility. And finally, we have some answers on that front. If you go to the official PlayStation Twitter page, you'll find a post that reads, "When PS5 launches this November, more than 99% of the PS4 library will be playable on PlayStation 5. Your top backwards compatible questions answered here on this link." Clicking on it will take you to the official PlayStation blog, where you'll find an article published today that reads, "PS4 games on PS5, your top questions answered." So, on that front, here's what Sony had to say. When the PlayStation 5 launches this November, more than 99% of the 4,000 plus games available on PlayStation 4 will be playable on PlayStation 5. We know you have questions about how PS4 games will work on PS5, so here's a quick overview on some of the common questions we have seen from the PlayStation community. The first question asks, what console generation games are supported with PS5's backwards compatibility feature? And the response provided reads that we're focused on the huge catalog of games on PlayStation 4, and we're pleased that more than 99% of PS4 games will be playable on PS5 on day one. This includes games that have defined the PS4 generation, from critically acclaimed PlayStation exclusives like Last of Us Part 2 and Ghost of Tsushima, to blockbuster hits from our third-party partners. So, right off the gate, no mention of PS3, PS2, and PS1 backwards compatibility support. I hope that is something that is coming down the line. And reading through the comments following PlayStation's Twitter post, you'll see that a lot of people are asking about, are we going to be able to emulate PS3 games at some point? What about PS1, PS2, and PS3 games? Will PS5 have any backwards compatibility for older games, either purchased physically or digitally? Hopefully this is something that's on their radar. With Microsoft and Xbox Series X, they're making Xbox 360 and original Xbox games backwards compatible. And so I think it'd be a shame for PS5 to miss out on a similar feature. I think it'd be a huge draw if players could just buy one box PS5 and play all of their favorite games across the entire PlayStation history in this one console. So we'll have to wait and see. I feel like it's not something they're ruling out. It's just something they're not focusing on during this launch period. Hopefully that will change in the coming months and years. Next up, what is the difference between playing PS4 games on the PS5 Digital Edition console versus the PS5 console with the Ultra HD Blu-ray disc drive? The response reads, the gaming experience on both models will be the same, however, how you access the content to play will differ. So for Digital Edition, you'll be able to play digital versions of your compatible PS4 games on the PS5 Digital Edition console. These will be compatible PS4 digital games you have already purchased or plan to purchase via PlayStation 4 on PS4, PS5, web, or PlayStation mobile app. Since there is no disc drive, you won't be able to play your PS4 disc-based games on the PS5 Digital Edition. That goes without saying. So if backwards compatibility is a big deal for you and you purchased a lot of physical games on the PS4 that you'd like to see carry over on the PS5, it's a good idea to purchase the version of PS5 with that Blu-ray disc drive instead of the digital-only edition that will not allow you to carry over your previous physical purchases to the new console. So something to keep in mind unless you don't mind repurchasing a lot of these games digitally. And then as far as PS5 with the disc drive goes, it states right here that on top of being able to play all your digital games, you can also carry over physical PS4 game discs. So just something to keep in mind, a consideration worth noting for those who are thinking about which version is best to get. The blog post then asks, what is the PS4 game experience like on PS5? So, will there be any enhancements with this backwards compatibility? And the response to that is yes. PS4 titles get even better on PS5. Select PS4 titles will see increased loading times on the PS5 console and will also leverage Game Boost, offering improved or more stable frame rates. Now, it does say select PS4 titles, so there may be certain games that will not benefit all that much from the enhanced hardware. It'll be interesting to see how many of the games from PS4 will see an enhancement on PS5. Is it going to be by default, like with how Series X takes any game that's compatible with the new console from older gens, like a lot of the Xbox One games that I've played, and even without optimization, there is just improved frame rate, improved performance, improved graphics, improved loading times. Is there going to be some of that with PS5, or by default, it'll just enhance certain games, or do games have to be optimized to be enhanced on PS5? Well, it does say right here that some titles with unlocked frame rates or dynamic resolution up to 4K may see higher fidelity. I'm assuming they're referring just by default. Additionally, PS4 games will also take advantage of some of PS5's new user interface features, but more to come on that later. So for certain titles are not capped out in any way, shape, or form when it comes to frame rate and resolution, they might automatically see some kind of boost from what they're saying here, if I'm interpreting this correctly. They don't have a list of all the games that will take advantage of Game Boost, but hopefully it'll be a significant portion of the PS4 library of games, particularly the big hits, the must-owns. You know, it'd be cool if a game like Bloodborne, which had, choppy frame rates on PS4, somehow got a Game Boost enhancement for PS5. Something along those lines. Now, for PlayStation VR players, one of the questions asked is, are games from PlayStation VR backwards compatible? The response reads, yes, PlayStation VR games are included among the thousands of PS4 games that are playable on PlayStation 5. Please note that playing PSVR games on a PS5 console requires a PSVR headset, DualShock 4 wireless controller, or PlayStation Move controllers, and PS camera for PS4, which are sold separately from the PlayStation 5. Also, the PS5 HD camera is not compatible with PSVR on PS5. You'll need to use the PS camera for PlayStation 4 and the PS camera adapter, no purchase required, to use PSVR on PlayStation 5. So I surmise that a PS camera adapter maybe will come packaged in with every PlayStation 5 purchase. That's the only way I can see them distributing, free adapters. But yeah, they're confirming right here that PSVR is backwards compatible, not just the games, but also the device itself, alongside the PS4 camera and the PlayStation Move controllers. So as long as you still have all your accessories from PS4, you can carry that over with PS5. And then I surmise that the new HD camera for PS5 will be intended to be used with the new PSVR 2 or whatever they call it. So at the very least, it's good to see just how much of the PS4 gen will carry over to PlayStation 5, including all of the VR stuff. Beyond VR, other elements that will carry over include PS4 games on PS Now and PlayStation Plus. It says right here, backwards compatible PS4 games included in PS Plus or PS Now will run on PS5. So all of those free games that you acquired throughout your time being subscribed to PlayStation Plus, those will carry over too and will be playable on PlayStation 5, so 2 thumbs up there. As for whether you can stream PS4 games on PS5, the response provided states that yes, remote play from PS4 to PS5 and PS Now streaming are supported. The benefit of streaming is that you can save your storage space on PS5. Please note that PS4 games will not leverage PS5's Game Boost through streaming, which makes sense. The next topic discusses game saves and whether those will transfer over from PS4 to PS5, and it would seem as though this aspect is less certain and will depend on a game-by-game basis. So it reads right here, you can transfer digital games, game data, and game saves from a PS4 console to a PS5 console using LAN cables or by connecting wirelessly via Wi-Fi. If you've already stored PS4 games and game data in the external USB storage device connected to your PS4, you can bring them over to PS5 with an external USB storage device. And if you're a PS Plus member, you can also sync PS4 game saves on PS5 through cloud storage. But here's the caveat. Please note that the ability to transfer game saves between a PS4 version and a PS5 version of the same game is a developer decision and will vary title by title for cross-generational games. For Marvel's Spider-Man Miles Morales, when players decide to upgrade from PS4 to PS5, their game saves will transfer. Sackboy: A Big Adventure also will support game save transfer from PS4 to PS5 in an update that will be delivered shortly after the release of the game. We'll share additional details on both games closer to launch. So it seems as though developers have to put in some work to make save files from PS4 compatible with PS5, whereas with Series X, that's just something that seems to be inherent. Developers haven't put work in a lot of the games that I tested out on Series X, and save files were very easily compatible and transferable, especially with cloud saves. With PS4 to PS5, it would seem as though developers have to kind of take an extra step and optimize things in such a way that save file transfers will be allowed. Lastly, the blog post covers which PS4 games aren't playable, and they respond by providing a link to this PlayStation support page that actually lists out the PS4 games that are only for PlayStation 4. So the list is very short. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 games out of the over 4,000 titles on PS4. None of these games are familiar to me except maybe Hitman Go, but none of these games ultimately interest me all that much, and they're kind of very not particularly well-known games. I don't think a lot of people will necessarily miss these titles. Now, this support page also highlights some other things that the original blog post doesn't, provide certain warnings about compatibility and the like. The second bullet point does warn that although many PS4 games are playable on PS5 consoles, some functionalities that were available on the PS4 console may not be available on PS5 consoles. In addition, some PS4 games may exhibit errors or unexpected behavior when played on PS5 consoles. If that is something that players stumble upon with a specific game, hopefully the developers will get on it and fix whatever issues there may be. And then next up, before purchasing add-ons to play with your PlayStation 4 games on PS5 consoles, please try to boot and play your PS4 games on your PS5 console to see if you're happy with the play experience. And then they warn that you should keep your PS5 console updated to the latest version for the best compatibility performance. Now, as far as how PlayStation 4 discs being played on PS5 works, there is a process highlighted right here that reads as follows. Step 1, insert the PS4 game disc. You may need to download an update. Step 2, select the game hub from your games home. Step 3, you will need to keep the disc inserted each time to play the game. It's as simple as inserting the disc, maybe downloading an update, and then, like with any physical game, ensuring that the disc is in and it'll just play just fine. And then when it comes to digital PS4 games being transferred to PS5, you can either do that via Wi-Fi or through external storage. You can also, of course, choose to just re-download games. PS4 titles can be downloaded to PS5, so that's a process you can partake in. Now, there are certain games that won't just be backwards compatible, they'll also be upgraded to be compatible with PS5's more modern hardware, and for games that do offer a free upgrade, there is a step-by-step instruction here that basically bogs down to insert disc when prompted for if you want to upgrade your game. Just follow the prompt. Same thing with digital purchases. Just open the game up. It might ask you for an upgrade if that game has an upgrade available. Just hit yes, I want to upgrade, and the rest will be taken care of. For the last two topics in this PlayStation support page, there's talk of controller compatibility with PS5 and then certain limitations with backwards compatibility. So starting with controllers that PS5 supports, you can use your DualShock 4 wireless controller to play PlayStation 4 games on PS5, but PS5 specific games will not support the DualShock 4. And this is likely because the PS5 controller has haptic feedback and certain unique features that developers will take advantage of, especially first-party developers. They just want to keep the PS5 experience unified, and I guess that's why they're kind of going for this. But for those who want to engage with backwards compatibility, DualShock 4 is still usable, so, don't throw those away if you're upgrading to PS5. I will say, though, I get the feeling that most PS5 games won't take a huge advantage of things like haptic feedback or some of the more unique features, and things like haptic feedback I don't think are vital to most PS5 games, especially third-party games. So it'd be nice if they eventually did allow people to just use their DualShock 4s. This is in case there's, like a multiplayer third-party game that's for PS5 and there's local multiplayer, local co-op, split screen, whatever you want. For those games, it'd be nice to have the option of using the DualShock 4 as a secondary controller. And sure, it doesn't have haptic feedback, but again, is it really so vital that players shouldn't be allowed to use DualShock 4 controller at all? For now, as far as we know, all PS5 games will not be compatible with the DualShock 4 wireless controller. Finally, when it comes to backwards compatibility limitations, one of the things that they highlight is that the share menu from PS4 is not available on PS5. Instead, they have what's called a create menu, and that will pop up instead of the traditional share menu from PS4. It's still, I guess, just the same functionality, just a different interface. You can still capture screenshots and footage and post those if you want. So yeah, right here, you can still take a screenshot. You can still, record videos for PS4 games that are being played on PS5. And then beyond that, PS4 Tournaments is not supported on PS5. And then last but not least, we have In-Game Live and the PS4 Second Screen app that are not supported for PS5. So, not huge limitations in any way, shape, or form. The biggest uncertainty right now is which games will allow save files to be transferred over from PS4 to PS5, and which PS4 games will benefit from Game Boost and which ones won't. And of course, whether a game receives a full-on next-gen upgrade, like a lot of these games are doing, that is also dependent on the developers. We are already starting to see developers announcing ways in which they're going to support their PS4 games on PS5. So, Sucker Punch Productions with Ghost of Tsushima, they said, Ghost of Tsushima will be playable on PS5 on day one via backwards compatibility, and you'll be able to transfer your save from PS4 to pick up where you left off. And then beyond that, Sucker Punch confirms that PS5 owners playing with Game Boost will see an extra option to allow frame rates up to 60 frames per second. Hell yes. I would love to play Ghost of Tsushima at 60 frames. And while loading speeds on the PS4 are already great, just wait until you see them on the PS5s. Yeah, Ghost of Tsushima's loading on PS4, I don't know how they did it. I don't know what magic they pulled, but the loading times on Ghost of Tsushima are so good, it feels like you're running the game on SSD. So just imagining how fast the game will load on PS5, I'm imagining it's going to be as good as instantaneous. But yeah, hopefully as we get closer to PS5's launch, we'll see more developers make announcements about how they're planning to take advantage of PS5's hardware. Hopefully a lot of these games will allow save transfers and will take advantage of Game Boost. But yeah, this is all really good information to know. We are a month out before PS5's launch, and so getting new information on one of the topics that a lot of people are curious about, backwards compatibility, is all around good stuff. Though, again, hopefully down the line, there will be more information on PS3, PS2, and PS1 game support. Hopefully they will find a way to emulate that. It's good to hear that PS4 backwards compatibility is thorough and extensive, and we'll see benefits with PS5's new hardware. People who might have missed out on the PS4 gen will certainly find a lot to love with PS5 and won't be missing out on all that much. And hell, you'll play them with just better performance, better graphics, better loading times, all that good stuff. And beyond that, you've got the PlayStation Plus collection program. So basically the way it works is if you're a PlayStation Plus subscriber, on day one of PS5's launch, you'll have access to all of these games. The greatest hits of PlayStation 4 will be accessible, kind of like a more limited Game Pass, essentially. These are all pretty prominent games that you'll kind of just have access to. So that's actually pretty neat, and that means that a lot of people will be able to catch up on some of the PS4's greatest hits. But yeah, as far as PlayStation's current plans with backwards compatibility, as far as what we know now, when it comes to all of the information relayed officially by Sony, this is what we have. Let me know in the comments below what your thoughts and opinions are on PlayStation 5's current backwards compatibility implementation, and to be further updated on all things gaming news, reviews, and discussions, stay tuned right here on Young Yeah. I'll see you guys next time. Young out.